right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go with game number 1 between Alternate Attacks Darkforce and Evil Geniuses HuK. We're going to be heading over to NASL Crevasse.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic, man. I'm so excited for this match. PvZ on Crevasse, of course, as I've said it before, it is a macro-oriented map. That in-base expansion allows you to take that natural, and you know what we always talk about, Andre, is taking that rich Vespene Geyser. Always want to see players using that more efficient gas mining if they're going to put those 3 workers in the gas. But you know what, it's going to be HuK versus Darkforce. So HuK, of course, player from EG, known very well for his top 3 control as he boasts.
Yes.
Amazing Protoss player with a really good control, but on the other side is Darkforce, who is, as his name suggests, a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, he's definitely, I would always say he's the dark horse of things. Because a lot of people just put him under the radar for some reason, and he shouldn't be. The guy is so fantastic. He is a macro player, though.
Yep.
And going into macro games against HuK, it's tough. I know HuK's not known for his macro games, but the amount of training he has with the type of people that he has in Korea, it's really scary to go into a long game with him.
Yeah, you know, I think it might be the better way to play, though, simply because, as you said, HuK not quite as much known for his end game macro games, more known for his great mid game timings, and of course,
you know, I'm just scared of HuK.
Yeah,
that's what it comes
absolutely,
down to.
man. HuK's a scary force to play against. Like, you don't know exactly what he's going to do. You don't know if you're going to be able to deal with his insane micro.
Do you know how many times he's knocked me out of MLG?
I do not. How many times?
Like 3.
Really?
Yeah. It hurts.
I'm sorry,
it hurts
Andre.
my bones,
how can it hurt, man? There's no shame in losing to HuK.
I know.
No shame whatsoever.
Well, it's like getting your butt kicked by
Michael
George St. Pierre.
I'm sorry. That reference is completely lost on me.
Like Michael Bolton.
Oh, okay.
By Michael Bolton.
Well, that's...
It's awesome every time.
I think I disagree with that reference, but but either way, I know we have different musical tastes.
Right.
But
so Forge Fast Expand coming out for HuK. He is going the Nexus before the Forge.
Yeah, he's going to be in a pretty good situation here, man.
Who would you say that it was?
What?
Think of a...
Well, like a musical group?
Yeah, a musical group.
A musical group? I don't know, like Queen or something?
Oh, yeah. It's like, okay, it's like you're getting kicked in the balls by Freddie Mercury.
There you go, man.
It's awesome every time, but it still hurts.
It still hurts. You're right. You're right. That's a great analogy there, Andre. But this drone from Darkforce. There you go. Finally, we got it, man. Finally got it. Darkforce finally gets this drone into HuK space. He's going to see that Nexus first. And of course, the Forge with the cannon. And he's checking very diligent. You can see there he did check for the double gas. And he did not see any gas right now. So, of course, the gateway hasn't been started. So it would have been a little bit unorthodox for a HuK to have gone for that quick double gas there. But he is going to go ahead and drop down that rich Vespene Geyser in the natural.
That's what I'm
Thank
talking
you,
about,
HuK. That is such a smart move. You know, so many players we've seen just go for the main gas, and it's just so much less efficient since, of course, you get the 6 gas per trip instead of 4 when you do take that rich Vespene Geyser. It looks like as you were selecting there, we are going to see a quick third here from Darkforce. Definitely the right decision against a Forge fast expansion. And in this situation, I got to feel bad for HuK. Whoa, look at that crazy quick 3 gas, or you could say 3.5 gas with the rich one. So you might just be rushing up some tech here. We'll have to wait and see what it is, but in this situation, as a Protoss player, it's really hard to come into an advantage in the mid game because the Zerg's going to be on 3 base. There's not much potential to put on pressure since your gateway is so delayed by going Nexus first into Forge. And from there, I mean, there's the options most Protoss players go for are either Stargate play or DT play or something like a 6-gate.
Yeah.
But those have basically been figured out. We don't see Zerg players losing to that often. Usually they blind put up some spores because they counter, you know, both Stargate and DT play. So I'm not sure what HuK's going to do here. Maybe he'll just try to, you know, macro up and be able to move out and try to take that third. For sure. But with that quick triple gas, I'm expecting that it's possible we might just see some type of quick tech like we've seen in the past.
Well, we've a lot of times seen a lot of Stargate play on this map in particular. If you think back to actually Sake, he would really like double Stargate pressure on this map. And it's pretty safe, to be honest. I mean, this ramp is hard to bust out. It's very all-in if you are the Zerg player to actually try to bust this out. So, that being said, there's a lot of combinations HuK could be doing. Let's see what he actually goes and does.
Nice play by him. He did take out the scouting drone that was just running around his base. Of course, with the late core, you don't have a stalker. You are not Terran. You can't just get that Marine out right away and kill off the Scout. So that was very important for him to kill that off with that good probe micro, so he could actually drop down any tech that he chooses. Look at this. He's up to 500 gas right now.
Wow.
This is just the strangest build here from HuK. He is going to go ahead and throw it on the Twilight Council, so perhaps... No, never mind. I was about to say perhaps we're going to see DTs. No. Look at that, Andre. +1 is already on the way from HuK. I think we're going to be seeing a +2 Blink Stalker attack.
Yes, I believe you are correct. Of course, that Twilight Council was heavily delayed, so it doesn't really make sense to go Dark Templars at that time. You know, obviously your Dark Templars would be much later, and the purpose of the Dark Templars is to catch your opponent when they do not have detection. For now, Darkforce, let's go ahead and look at the income tab. 46 Harvesters, 241, so not a huge lead, but of course the Queen mechanics that inject larva.
Oh my god.
Does a lot, man.
HuK is attacking his own Cybernetics core with his sentries and his cannons. What is he doing? He has Warp Gate on the way. He's just gonna... I guess he just doesn't want to ever build more sentries or stalkers here. Is he rebuilding that somewhere else? Like, that is just...
Why?
I don't... Oh my god, oh my god, he leaves it with 1 HP, 5 seconds from completion. That was the closest I think we've ever seen to someone just accidentally just losing the game for themselves.
Oh wow,
oh,
and a Dark Shrine is coming down.
God, what is HuK doing this game, man? This is just... I think he's going maybe Blinkstalker Archon with those Dark Templar, the Dark Shrine to make the Archons off. He does rebuild that Cybernetics core, so it looks like that's the part of his wall he wants to break off. I think that's a misplay though. Well, first off, that was so risky. One more shot.
He's like, oh yeah, I'll bring it down to the closest possible hit points, and then I'll stop.
Literally one more shot, and I feel like the game would have instantly been lost there for HuK without that Warp Gate tech to be done. So, and also, you know, why not just kill off the gateway or something? Like, why kill off the Cybernetics core? It just seems a little bit strange. It does make it so you can't build those stalkers or sentries until that's back up. But of course it is done. And look at that. Overseer sees the Dark Shrine and the Blink being chrono boosted for HuK. Darkforce is in such a great position with that great scouting.
Very convenient scout for him. The Dark Shrine being scouted, of course, just dismantles any ability to actually do pressure. But we will see Blink coming out, and Blink is just about finished. But HuK does not have a lot of stalkers out on the field. Looks like he has a total of 7. That's very manageable, especially against this time, 10 minutes into the game.
And we do see that Darkforce is setting up 2 spores right now. It looks like 1 at the third, 1 at his in-base natural. So, you know what? He actually doesn't have one in the main. So if HuK did some kind of crazy shenanigans with dropping some DTs in the main, he might be able to do some damage. But somehow I think with the total of 3 Overseers that Darkforce now has, I don't think he's going to be in any trouble against Dark Templar at all. We'll have to see. I mean, HuK hasn't warped in any to go for any aggression here. He just completely ignored... Oh, no, he did not. I thought maybe he had canceled the Dark Shrine. No, he did not. So he actually just hasn't warped in a single Dark Templar. I'm not entirely sure what he's planning on doing here. I feel like if he's just... Oh, we'll hold that thought. He's going for the engagement. The Zerglings are actually going to get the surround on these Stalkers. HuK's going to lose a lot. He needs the good force fields. Great force fields go down. Pretty much perfect, but he's still losing a lot. These sentries are taking a lot of damage. He needs to throw out another force field, but he doesn't have the energy right now. 48 energy. He's trying to warp in some more sentries. I don't know if it'll be enough, though. This is so many forces streaming in for Darkforce.
Yeah, and the big problem is HuK has no continuation defense for this. There's a lot of energy being spent out. He needs to get more sentries down, but he needs those stalkers out to dish out that damage. It looks like Darkforce just keeps bearing down on all these units, and it looks like he's in a fantastic position to shut down this third.
Oh my gosh, every single sentry has gone down. Darkforce is starting to lose the bulk of his army, but it doesn't matter. He did the damage he needed to. Every single sentry is now dead. HuK has lost quite a lot, including some probes, and this third is not mining at all. He's going to lose this Overseer, but it's not the biggest deal. He's going to lose another one. Oh, too bad, but here come the reinforcements for Darkforce. He might even just try to snipe the Nexus. No, he just kills off a pylon, and looks like he's going to fall back. But of course, the upgrades right now are up close to being 2-0 for HuK, whereas Darkforce is at 0-0, but 1-0 for his melee upgrades. So HuK is going to have an upgrade advantage. That's all he has going into this game, the only advantage he has. But you know what I feel like he should have done? I mean, remember, he made that Dark Shrine. Around the time he was up there towards Darkforce base, he had 600 gas, and he didn't make a single Archon. Remember all the Zerglings streaming in? They surrounded his Stalkers. Imagine if he had made a couple Archons there. He would have been in great shape. Instead, well, he's going to use these Dark Templar for defense now. Darkforce is moving in with this entire army here. He doesn't have any Overseers, but here come the 2 Overseers with this army. He will be able to take out all of the Dark Templar. They need to be morphed into Archons now. They are being targeted down. He's going to pull them back. Will he be able to morph them into Archons? Not yet. We'll see if he goes for it. Oh my god, he's losing all of his Stalkers. Now he's morphing them in, but this is a big amount of trouble for HuK.
Yes, it is. Now finally bearing down a little bit more, but the Archons are just about to pop out. As soon as these Archons pop out, it just delivers so much damage. It looks like additional reinforcements are coming in right now. Just Zerglings, though, and Zerglings are very manageable. Still, the third is being consistently denied. HuK is able, or excuse me, Darkforce is able to keep this third under lockdown. He just has to make sure that HuK doesn't start to build momentum, because there's a lot of Stalkers that he's been able to retain. If he's able to get that mass unit of Stalkers, I don't think Zergling Roach is actually able to deal with that.
Especially with the upgrade advantage, of course, that HuK has. You are going to need some type of higher tier unit. He does have Tunneling Claws on the way, though, and HuK does not have any detection other than the cannons at his natural. So I'm looking around, he doesn't even have a robotics facility. So essentially what this does is, you know, with Burrow complete, Darkforce, every time he engages, as long as he takes out these cannons here, which is what he's target firing very smartly, he will be able to just burrow as soon as these roaches start taking damage, unburrow, snipe an Archon, reburrow, etc. I'm surprised he's not doing that right now. In fact, he could just be saving these roaches, but he's not microing. I guess he just realizes he's so far ahead he doesn't need to, but he could just be completely winning this engagement. I'm really surprised that he's not using any of that burrow micro. I mean, it seems like a big tech investment to just completely ignore.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he's doing that at all. The Overseers are just chilling in the back, and it looks like all the roaches are just getting cleaned up so fast. And again, Darkforce is going to have to back up, and let's look at HuK's units. Yes, he has increased the amount of Stalkers that he has. Of course, he wants to get as many, or his shields regenerate as fast as possible. But, you know, this is looking actually pretty good for HuK. It's getting out of hand, actually.
Yeah, I mean, his upgrade advantage is starting to get further and further in the game, and all Darkforce keeps doing is throwing away units. He just keeps remember that during this he didn't take a fourth, man. If he had taken a fourth while he did that attack, he'd be in pretty much the best position possible. Now he's going to take it, but it's pretty late. Now it's like the point in time when HuK's going to come forward for some aggression with this high number of Blink Stalkers, so Darkforce is timing a little bit off here, but he is still reinforcing with tons and tons of Roaches and Speedlings, of course. He is just at 1-0 upgrades now on these Roaches. HuK, of course, at 2-0 with 2-1 about to complete. It looks like HuK is going to be forced to fall back. He's completely run out of shields on the majority of these Stalkers, and he's just continuing to warp in pure Blink Stalker. I'm really surprised. Never mind. I was about to say I'm really surprised we haven't seen Infestor tech come out from Darkforce, and there it is. Infestation Pit is on the way, so we'll be able to get those Infestors out to stop the Blinks from HuK, as well as dish out quite a bit more damage while he takes that fourth, so he can, of course, get that extra gas geyser.
There is still, though, quite a timing for HuK. Before those Infestors ever come out, of course, Pathogen Glance need to be upgraded, then the Infestors come out. Through that time, this Stalker count is actually super effective to this mass Roach Zergling, just because it's hard to get that concave, especially as your numbers get higher like this. They choke, or they fill up the chokes a lot easier, and you can blink back very, very nicely. It looks like engagement started again, and Zergling's Roach is trying to do their damage, but look at this, just blink back everything that's weak, and when everything gets super, super low, he can just fully blink back and drop back to these cannons.
Yeah, he is basically just using his micro to stay in this game. Darkforce still has the huge macro advantage. He's got shield upgrades and +3 weapons on the way, so HuK really wants to be able to beef up those Stalkers and maybe some Archons if he mixes them in. Yet again, it seems strange to me. I mean, he's had the Dark Shrine all game long, and he made a couple Archons earlier on, and he is a bit starved for gas, making pure Stalker here, but he is dealing with a lot of Speedling as well. It's not just pure Roach. There have been quite a few Speedlings with this army composition. Just a couple Archons make an unbelievable difference with your army against that. He's going to move forward for some aggression right now, but remember that he doesn't have an observer, so if Darkforce actually remembers that he has burrow and uses that micro, HuK will never be able to engage in this. He can just attack, burrow, unburrow, attack, burrow. You can just do that over and over, and there's literally nothing HuK can do about it. Oh, look at that! He gets the Zergling flank in from behind. HuK having so much trouble falling back. He's going to be forced to use Blink. He's losing an insane amount of Stalkers right now. Beautiful move there by Darkforce. Has taken himself a huge advantage in this game. It's now 170 food to 97.
That's going to push a huge lull in this game. It's going to force HuK to not actually be aggressive. That's the time right now when Darkforce, yes, he's getting the Pathogen Glance. We will see Infestors coming out. That's a perfect way to utilize this advantage and take advantage of HuK's bad army, or excuse me, not bad army composition, but his specific army composition.
And of course, positioning. Yeah, that was just a really good play there by Darkforce. HuK has just been putting on so much pressure with these Lings. Looks like the Lings are going to spot the fourth base on the way from HuK, but the Roaches are going to go into the third, and HuK's entire army is out of position. He's going to snipe the Forge. Okay, I thought he would just go up and snipe the Nexus, but you know what? He's just going to snipe the Forge and run away. I don't think that was the right move since he was already so far behind, but it looks like the Zerglings, he's just using multi-pronged aggression. HuK cannot split up his army right now and still be efficient with it, so he's forced to commit one way or another. Now he's going to lose his fourth to those Speedlings while he's trying to defend the third. The Roaches are doing quite a bit of damage, but they're actually not engaging that well. They're just kind of on attack moves. So many of them attacking the Nexus while the rest are attacking the army. Now you see the micro here from Darkforce moving forward. HuK is trying to blink micro as best as he can, but I don't know if it'll be enough. He does, of course, have those 3-1-1 upgrades. Darkforce is just at 1-0, but it looks like he might just have too many Roaches right now. He's taken out pretty much the entire army from HuK, and his fourth has gone down. This could be game, man. It is 152 food to 86, and HuK lost his fourth in that.
Yeah, and look at that. Infestor's actually popping out. That's going to be the nail in the coffin, I feel. Darkforce is just having such a great time against his opponent. You know, HuK, he didn't have any glaring weaknesses. I think, if anything, his build has been really affecting him. He went those Dark Templars, as we said before, and did absolutely no damage with them. So it's a lot of wasted tech, a lot of wasted things going into his build. It has given Darkforce that ability to actually push on his opponent, and we can see that Darkforce just had that one crucial battle. Now he's able to have Infestors out in the field. This is going to be so advantageous for him.
Yeah, and remember, of course, that HuK, with spending all that gas on those DTs, did not ever get a Robo all game long.
Yeah.
He hasn't had to deal with Burrow, but I'm really surprised Darkforce just hasn't utilized those tactics. He does have one Burrowed Roach just sitting here by the natural that I don't think HuK knows about. Just basically keeping watch for if the army ever gets out of position, he can then send his whole army in to snipe that third. But I'm really surprised. I mean, the Darkforce invested in Tunneling Claws and Burrow. Might as well just go for some shenanigans. Burrow your Roaches and send them into the main, you know, like pick off every pylon or something, snipe the Nexus, do whatever you need to, because HuK literally has no way whatsoever to deal with Burrow. There's just simply nothing in his army that's going to work for that. He does have a Robo on the way now, but it might be too late. Looks like some Zerglings and Roaches going to go for an engagement here. Near the fourth, the Infestors are here as well. HuK, his army's out of position. He might get in. No, he does not get fungled. Nice blink out of position, but he is going to lose this fourth, and he lets it complete.
Fungal growth goes off on all of these Stalkers, and it looks like these Roaches will be bearing down on the fourth. This is a really, really bad position for HuK, and look at that, a counterattack going in the third. The Zerglings are just going to back off for now. Stalkers, Zealots, and Sentries. Finally, that Robo is out, but of course he's so far away from Colossus, and you need Colossus against those Infestors or High Templars. Colossus, I think, is the more safer route just because of the Infestor nerf as of the 1.4 patch.
It does work out pretty well, of course, with that range increase, 9 range versus the 7 range of Neural, so you can just snipe those Infestors pretty easily. Of course, another option is Phoenixes. You can just lift the Infestors pretty darn effectively. A lot of people might be like, well, you can just fungal the Phoenixes. Well, what's actually cool about that is if you fungal the Phoenixes, that's great. That fungal's not going on your army, so you don't even care. But it looks like HuK is going to take out some of these Zerglings here, but remember that his fourth has been just continuously denied all game long. I feel like we're almost watching a PvT here with the Terran, you know, dropping in the main and counterattacking at the natural. It's basically what Darkforce is doing. He's just forcing HuK to make a decision which bases he want to defend. He's so far behind that he can't afford to split up his army and defend both at the same time, and thus HuK, on a map like this where the fourth is so far away, has been completely unable to continue his macro. And with Darkforce continuing to take expansions across the map with his increased mobility, he is just in a ridiculously commanding lead right now. He's almost maxed, and HuK's only at 126 food. Has actually been supply blocked for, I feel like, a minute now, but we do see the 3 pylons on the way. He's actually going to start Immortal production, will help out a lot versus those Roaches, but I mean, not versus the Infestors,
man. The Infestors are the one that are so clutch in this match right now. The army composition of HuK is not ready to deal with Infestors. That's what it comes down to. All it takes is one battle, and it's going to heavily swing towards Darkforce's favor. As long as there's good micro involved, in good positioning, rather. I shouldn't say micro, good positioning. And Darkforce isn't a player that's silly and will go into a bad position. I feel like, you know, this is going to be it pretty soon.
Yeah, there's still no Observer with this army that I can see, man. So, you know, with the Sentries that HuK has started trying to mix in here, I mean, I know I keep repeating this. I don't want to just sound like a broken record, but he could actually just burrow in, unburrow, snipe every Sentry, and re-burrow. And then that's game. Like, literally that's game for that investment from HuK to just be lost here. He's really going to be relying on those to play defensively. Basically, HuK right now, his only chance, since he hasn't been able to take that fourth base, his only chance is to build up to a 200-200 death ball and just have Darkforce unable to deal with it. But somehow, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. He's still only at 142 food, and he's continuing to lose units here. It looks like a ton of Infestors are moving forward here for Darkforce. They're going for the engagement. Force fields go down, but there's the burrow. Now he's going to leave, and of course, with no Observer for HuK's army, he can't really do anything talking about this, but here comes the big engagement. Are we going to see the fungals? We do see fungals on every single sentry. A couple Infestor Terrans getting thrown down as well. A ton of Infestor Terrans as well as additional fungals. HuK is starting to lose his entire army. Every single sentry has gone down. The Immortal has gone down as well. The Stalkers are all dying. They're all very low on HP. HuK has basically no army left. 170 food to 80 food. I do not think he can come back in this game.
That's absolutely going to be it. The roach retention is pretty good as well. Normally your roaches get cleaned up. And look at that, the Infestors, man. There are so many Infestors still. 12 Infestors out in the field. That means all he has to do is remake roaches, which are probably the cheapest part of his entire army. Now pushing out, but I can't see these Stalkers doing anything. HuK right now is just delaying the inevitable. He only is on one base trying to get his second mining base up right now, whereas Darkforce, he's on 2 base, but he has the ability to do anything he wants, really. With that awesome army composition, the Infestors, there's nothing he should be fearing.
Yeah, he's just in such a good lead right now. As you said, HuK kind of just delaying the inevitable right now. He's going to try to take that 4th base. But of course, if Darkforce scouts that, he can easily just run into the 3rd, snipe that, and then run into the 4th if HuK tries to come defend that. He's literally double his opponent's food right now. And let's take a look. Has he continued his upgrades? I mean, HuK is at 3-2-1 upgrades right now, and Darkforce is at 2-2. And it looks like he's got 3-3 on the way for his melee upgrades. Will be at 2-3, of course, for his roaches. But as you said, he kept up 12 Infestors at the end of that fight. Usually we see Zerg players with some poor micro lose their Infestors, and that's the problem. But with those still alive, that's an unbelievable advantage here for Darkforce, since he can just, of course, regen all of that energy between these fights. Look at that. He has so much energy left over. He can just go ahead and use 3 fungals to kill this observer. No, he's not actually going to throw down the last one. Okay, so he uses 2 fungals and then just lets it get away.
Queen to kill
so, yeah, 150 energy, a little bit wasted there, but not the biggest deal. He has so many Infestors, he really doesn't care. It's he's maxed. Oh, well, he's not actually maxed 180 food, but he could max at any point. He's saving up money right now, so he can build any units that he wants based on what he sees HuK doing in case he goes for some sort of crazy tech switch into Void Rays or something of the sort. That's why I'm imagining that he's just staying on 180 food. But HuK did get his 4th base up. He did manage to do that. I'm pretty surprised Darkforce didn't just go into the 3rd to snipe it. This could actually allow HuK to possibly get back in this game. If he can use this 4th base to get up to 200 food, he could be in a good position. But yet again, I don't think it's that likely. He's still only at 100, and he's just so far behind here, man.
Yeah, definitely a huge butt, and still has no way to deal with AoE. He's relying on brute force, and that's not necessarily the best way to deal with a Zerg army, especially just these roaches, which are so cheap and cost efficient against an army composition where you have very limited sentries. As long as the sentries are taken out, and he does have a lot of energy on these sentries, so maybe the defense is okay, but it's just like Infestors galore. Holy guacamole.
And there's the reason he was keeping his food low. Yep. He's going to go ahead and tech over 2 Broodlords. I didn't see that Guardian or the Greater Spire on the way. Must have gotten it a little bit earlier there. But he's got 5 Broodlords on the way, and this is pretty much going to seal the deal. All HuK has that can deal with Broodlords is Blink Stalkers, but when you have that many roaches and Infestors supporting them, you can fungal all the Blink Stalkers. They're really not going to be able to accomplish much of anything here, so we are probably going to see the engagement come pretty soon as Darkforce gets these next 2 Broodlords complete. He does have 3-3 now completing, so this is the great time to go for the engagement. He will have that upgrade advantage ever so slightly. Of course, HuK does have 3-3-1, so he does have that shield upgrade as well. But here come the Broodlords doing some damage now, and HuK gonna blink back, but he's of course on this cliff. HuK really can't afford to engage into these Broodlords. They're in such a good position.
Yeah, I mean, what can HuK do? If he blinks forward, everything gets destroyed. If he blinks back, these Broodlords start killing this Nexus. So HuK actually forced to make a move. He cannot afford to lose this expansion. I like what he's doing, actually force shielding beforehand, trying to give his Stalkers a little bit of room to go and blink forward, but still, those fungal growths, everything about this is just so terrible. There's the big blink forward, but it's not going to be enough. Fungal growths are going to be scattered all over these Stalkers. The Stalkers just getting mutilated. It looks like the Broodlords don't even get cleaned up. There's 3 left, and the transfuse is enough. GG comes out from HuK. And Darkforce is going to take game number 1, a very surprising victory. Of course, HuK being the favorite going into this matchup.
Yeah, that was phenomenal play. I mean, even what we saw in the end battle, he had 6 queens with that engagement. He was poised for that attack. He was so patient, didn't try to run his roaches down the ramp and get force fielded, although he could have burrowed under them. But he just left them there supporting his broodlords. He was transfusing his broodlords. HuK, I mean, he really just got denied bases all game long, and I think part of what it came down to was the fact that he went for the DT opener off of 2 base to take his third, and did basically absolutely nothing with it. So, and we saw him just continue to warp in pure Blink Stalker with nothing else, no Sentry support, no Archon support. And remember that one moment in the game, the crucial moment where I feel HuK lost any possible advantage when he got that Zergling surround from the flank and picked off so many Blink Stalkers from HuK. Imagine if HuK had just maybe 2, maybe 3 Archons with that. These Zerglings would have been essentially useless, especially with the 2-0 upgrade advantage that HuK had in that position. And it's not like, oh, well, he was spending all of his gas on upgrades. He couldn't do it. No, he had 600 gas at the point that he was attacking there. So could have gotten those Archons, and I feel like he would have been in a much better position.
Yeah, that's the thing. Actually, I think he nerfed himself going into that mid-game with getting the Dark Shrine, not really utilizing the Dark Templars. But then he was able to hold off very nicely. He got the mass Stalker counts. It was that, as you said, that battle really messed him up where he got surrounded with those Zerglings. I feel either don't engage though or again attack with those Archons, but I felt if he just pulled back a little bit, got Colossus, he would have been in a much better position. Darkforce was committed on 3 bases, and HuK really wanted to just keep utilizing his micro, I guess, advantage. He does have an advantage, I think, over a lot of players in micro. However, it came back to bite him in the butt, and you know, it really shows HuK might be mortal. Not all of his actions are perfect.
Man, imagine if he'd gotten the robo a little bit earlier and he had gotten the observers. Not only would that have been helpful to get, like, you know, immortals, observers, but remember that the critical point there was that he didn't have the map control while he was doing that engagement, so he didn't see the Zergling flank. Imagine if he had like an observer there, and he saw, oh god, there's a Zergling flank coming, better stop individually blink microing so I can save up that cooldown, run away, and then be able to blink away from the Zerglings, man. That's why that map control is unbelievably important.
Yep, well, we're going to go into game number 2 and see if HuK can come back into this. Join us. Darkforce is up 1-0.